Thank you. Burnie, Thompson, 17292 Front Beach Road. And I want to address something that occurred a couple of weeks ago. I was on the beach, enjoying the beach, and my field of burn watchdog alerts started going off. And I was notified that Councilman McConnell was standing in the road, stopping traffic in his neighborhood. And I want to address that. I understand that you have cut through traffic, and it's a major concern. And when you and I ran for office, we heard that quite a bit, didn't we? In all the neighborhoods, people said they're concerned. On low water, on open sands, there's a lot of areas. Bidawee is another one. And you all are dealing with it, and I sympathize with it. I really do. But my question is, what authority do you have, Councilman McConnell, to stop traffic and to ask questions? When we ran for office, we talked about restoring the rule of law, not becoming the law itself, and certainly not commandeering the police department's scarce resources. And I'm not sure if you knew about this, but there is an Attorney General advisory opinion on putting up no through traffic signs. And I just want to share it with you. The question was raised to the Attorney General, is a municipality authorized by Chapter 316, which is the traffic statutes, to erect signs that state no through traffic in neighborhoods to keep out people who don't live there? And the advisory opinion, and Amy, I'm wondering if you're familiar with this, is from the Attorney General. Nothing in Chapter 316, Florida statutes, or elsewhere authorizes the city to limit the right of the public to use such roadways for the exclusive benefit of the homeowners in the area and their invitees. So I wish, and I really do, because I see some of you here, and I know your neighbors are great people, and there's no doubt about that. Often we agree on things. In this certain instance, I don't have any solutions, Jeff. That may surprise you. I don't. I wish I did, for all the neighborhoods, not just yours. Mr. Mayor, you are stunned that I don't have any solutions.
I've never heard you give a solution.
Now, you know, there's a little humility today because I sympathize with the neighborhood. But I guess my point is, you know that I'm going to come before you if I believe that any of you are using your position to benefit yourself or your neighborhood exclusively. And I'd like to know if you've got, if you're
sure,
I've got other neighborhoods.
I've got a long response for you.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Josie Strange, East Lowwater Drive, and the traffic issue has been an issue that we fought for 10 years. My neighborhood in Lowwater Lake, it started about 6 years ago. Traffic was backed up. I called the chief of police and said, you know, we got to do something about it. I was told that that would be using my position to benefit myself, and that's the right answer. He talked me down off the ledge, which I'm sure you would have liked me to jump off. It is an issue. That Saturday, I had every entrance or exit to my neighborhood was backed up. 8 cars, 10 cars. We don't have sidewalks. At least you do in Palmetto Trace. You know, all the old neighborhoods. Open Sands, Bidawee. The streets are not even legally the width. And it's crazy. I don't know how many people have come up here and addressed this council, the previous council to that, and complained about the traffic, and they were told it's progress, or if you don't like it, move. So I think that this shows that there's a lot of us that don't want to move, and if we move, we're just going to be replaced by somebody that's going to complain again. So I'm just asking for some help. Thank you.
Go ahead and start.
I want
with
to apologize to my council members because this has been brought to my attention by some residents, what Mr. Thompson has been saying over the last couple of weeks over that occurrence. And so I felt he'd come here today and do what he's done, and I've got a response for that. But first, before I get into that, I'd like to thank the staff and the department heads in Holly for getting the budget brief material ready for me early. Before I left for New York, I went back up there to bury my father this past week and my aunt, and this allowed me to be able to focus on my family. And I'm very grateful for Holly and for the staff for getting that knocked out early for me. Thank you very much. So for Palmetto Trace, I want to say, number one, that as you are well aware, I do not personally benefit from the traffic situation cutting through there. I live on a side street. It does not impact me. I'm not on a through fare. You already know that, so that's a false statement. The state attorney opinion is non-legal, non-binding. It's right on the website when you go to search for that. It says it's not law, and it is used for guidance between government entities. That's right on the website. So it's not any illegal activity, as you had stated, so that is also a false statement. Palmetto Trace residents do not lose or forfeit their right to petition their councilman simply because I live there. To say that the neighborhood receives special treatment because I live there is also a false statement. And finally, I want to say that when I was elected to solve problems. I enjoy doing that. And I answer every person that contacts me. I've personally met with many people that have come to me. A few of them are in the audience today to discuss what their issues are, to try to find short-term solutions and long-term solutions. The city manager and I have discussed all the infrastructure, or will be discussing all the infrastructure projects that we've conducted over the last 3 months to help alleviate some issues. And I have also discussed with the chief moving some officers back into the neighborhoods to try to resolve some of the issues for a long-term fix until we get Nautilus Road complete, which should alleviate a lot of those traffics within the neighborhoods going east-west. There will be an issue on Nautilus, as you pointed out. Fortunately, we have some very large speed bumps in there, and we can address some of those issues when those come. Let's see. So, kind of in closing to that, I was elected to help, and I'm not going to stop helping. I'm not going to be bullied into stopping. I'm just going to keep doing what I do for the residents of this city. And that's really all I'm going to finish saying about that. As far as my authority to stand out there, I have none. I can ask people to stop. Some stopped, some didn't. I asked some people not to go through. Some did, some didn't. Until the police department got there. We know that as well. And that's it.
Thank you. Paul?
This has been a problem we've been dealing with for at least 20 years that I can remember. And Mayor, I think you may have been on the council, it may have been before you were here back in the late 90s. But the council at that time, they chose during, I believe it was during spring break, to close some of the cut-through streets like at Bidawee and down on the west end of the beach, Wells, San Souci, and just put signs up, barricaded off through traffic only to try to keep the cut-through tourists from cutting through their neighborhoods. And they were up there for a short while. I believe the attorney told us that we couldn't do that. They were public streets, and we removed them. So, Amy, I'm asking you what your opinion is before we open this Pandora's box and start, because we have a lot of other neighborhoods, and I certainly have a whole lot of sympathy for Palmetto Trace. It's one of the biggest ones, and they did have a serious problem. But when the other neighborhoods call, is the police chief going to have enough personnel to do the same thing for them that he's doing for the others? And what's your legal opinion? Can we stop people from going through these public streets?
I can't completely answer your question.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I can't completely answer your question. I can confirm that both the Florida statutes and your own code give the city manager and the city council as well the authority to exercise, take certain actions with regard to traffic control. So while you can't, for example, put up a no through street sign, you can put up signage that indicates what the through streets are. There's a litany of things in the Florida statute. There's a list, it's probably 20 things long, of circumstances and actions you can take to regulate and control traffic where it's necessary. But I don't know what the answer is. To the extent you're asking for an opinion or a recommendation on what the city should do here, to the extent it will be helpful to all neighborhoods, I don't have that answer.
You think you can get us an answer by the next meeting what your opinion is on that before we start doing something we shouldn't be doing, or maybe we should?
I can give the opinion that you have the authority. I don't know if I can, without knowing what action the city wants to take.
Okay.
I don't feel like I can give an opinion on whether or not that's compliant or not with Florida statutes and your code. It depends on the action the city wants to take. you are authorized to take action here for traffic calming, traffic control. So depending on the actions, the things the council wants to do, the answer will depend if you are squarely authorized by that statute and by your code. You can do something. I just can't do everything.
Sure. Anything else?